man there, everybody. Well, today we're going to do a little a jointed swim bait. I think I'm going to try and do it. This is a redfish that I caught a couple years ago. I think I'm going to try and mimic that pattern a little bit. Get that pearl white belly, that moss green head, into these yellows, orange, and sepia, all these darker colors along the back. And of course, you're going to have to do the black dot at the tail. So, stay tuned. Let's see what we can get going there. Alright, well, as always, we need to get our base coat put down. Turn that off for a moment. So, we need to get a base coat of white put down. And all I'm using is some opaque white. So we'll get this mixed up and we'll get it put on the lure. Alright, well, we got plenty of white on there. We'll put the leftover back in the bottle because don't like wasting paint. It's not expensive, but it's not cheap either. So, I always try and put it right back in. I do have rubber bands in each joint to keep the paint off of. This has that Kevlar strip in between the joints. So that does keep the paint off of that Kevlar fabric. So I don't have to worry about it getting stiff. And I leave that on there even after while clear coating. It just helps preserve the action of the lure. It makes sure it doesn't get stiff, sticky. Make sure that none of the joints get locked up. It's just overall better for the lure. and get my paint swapped out here, and we'll be right back. All right. We got that white ran out of the airbrush. Now we got a good white base coat, and the reason you saw me keep going over is I do really light coverage, so I do it in layers. I put one really light coat on, I let that kind of dry a little bit, and I put another coat on, let that dry a little bit. Sometimes I just run air over it, other times I'll heat set it with a hair dryer or a heating gun. But the key thing is you want a good even lay of your base coat. The more even, the less defects in your base coat, the better your lure is going to come out. Less bumps, less texture. This has a good even coat. Any little textures like on the edges, that is in the lure itself. So that just allows all the details to come out. But the next, if you remember on this reference photo, that belly has a very pearlescent effect on it. So first, in order to get that happen, we're going to put some pearl white down. And after we do the pearl white, we're probably going to take some of this, I have some iridescent powder. And I don't think this one might. I think we're going to try this one, but we're going to add this to some mid coat. And to help give the pearl white a little bit of a, that mother of pearl shimmer, hopefully. I'm kind of experimenting with this lure, so we're kind of going to figure it out together. So, let's go ahead and get the airbrushes swapped. And some water through this one. All right. See if that's going to spray. Oh yeah. Got the pearl to put down now. So I'll run that pearl out of the airbrush. As always, if y'all have any questions about what I do or have any advice, feel free to put it in the comments down, and I read all my comments. Which, as of right now, I'm not getting many. I'm not going to lie. Still kind of a new channel, so I don't expect to have very many comments going on. But I do read all my comments. And I definitely take y'all's advice into consideration on everything. Y'all are the ones watching, so I need to try and make sure it's what y'all are wanting to see. I say, if y'all have any questions too, is of what I'm using and stuff like that, by all means, put it down in the comment, and I'll do a Q&A night. All right, so like I said, let's move the lure to the side for a second. I do have, it's I think I got this from the hobby stores, Hobby Lobby or Michael's, something like that, but it's just an iridescent. This is Iris. It seems to have a little bit more of an orange iridescent, but that's kind of going to work, I think, with what's on there. Actually, I don't know. See what we got going here. Looking at the reference photo, I think the blue is going to be more of what I need for the belly. Well, that's some fine stuff. But all I do is I can take a little bit of this, and I put it in a little mixing dish. A little goes a long way with this stuff, unless you're just wanting something really, really potent. And I just use the Intercoat Clear. This particular one's made by Inspire. I hope y'all don't mind. Kind of in the mood for some flute music tonight, so helps keep the brain calm. Let me get something that's not as screechy to mix that with. Y'all don't want to be hearing metal on metal screeching going on. And I probably will use that other pearl on the top once we get them colors in there to kind of help bring some of that shifting in. I think it's more suited for the top colors. But this blue, I think, is going to be better suited. I don't know if y'all can see that. I can get tilted very good. Let's see if I can get the camera tilted here. That's what we got going on there. So we're going to get that in the airbrush. I am going to try and get a really good heavy coat of this pearl. I really want that blue to pop out. let that dry while I rinse out the airbrush. Alright, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Let me see if I can zoom in a little here. Hopefully, y'all can see that pearl, that blue in there a little bit. That's just really going to help our belly come together. Now, the next color we're going to do, the way I usually paint. Oh, let me zoom out. The way I usually paint, I like starting light and going dark. And it just seems to work better for me that way. So we're going to try and get this yellow matched up first. That's underneath here. Turn that down for a second here. But if you look really close, that's almost like a mustard or like a gold yellow. So I think I have a yellow that will make a base color for that to all build off of. So that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to work on getting this back and trying to bring it down the same way, or, you know, somewhat. We're going to bring it down with the little swoosh that's in that fish. And we're going to bring it up in here as well. I don't know if the end result will show it or not, but there's a little bit of that yellow showing at the edges of the green here. So that's where we're heading with that. Again, I hope y'all don't mind hearing flutes. That's just something that helps calm me down sometimes. Sometimes I just need it. But I have, it's actually a mustard base. Don't recommend putting it on your sandwiches though. I don't think it'll taste very good. Get it shook up really good here. I do apologize for the lack of videos. A lot of things have been going on. I got some fishing videos on my my camera. I got to find some way to get them to download a little faster. It just takes forever. I don't have a computer, so I'm doing it all with my phone. Or I download them from the camera to my phone, and it just takes forever. I need to find a computer that I can dedicate to a lot of this stuff. Turn the air pressure down. Alright, like I said, we're going to just mainly work along... get this where y'all can see it a little better here. Work along the top portion. We're going to spray a little into the head. And we're just going to try and bring it down kind of randomly. think that's got our yellow base. So let me clean this airbrush out. We'll be right back, y'all. All right, now we're going to be looking for this color here. I know there's a darker brown, green, mossy color up top, but if you look in the yellow, then it transitions into this like a copper, burnt orange color. So I'm going to try and hopefully I got some transparent red oxide. I'm going to put that along the back, and hopefully that brings the color that I'm wanting to achieve, or at least something close. Like I said, I'm not going for super realistic or anything like that. I'm just kind of going close. And I know this is a redfish. It is a saltwater fish. I'm painting a bass lure, but doesn't mean a bass ain't going to hit it. I've seen bass hit all kinds of different saltwater paint schemes, and honestly, this color can be found in other fish in freshwater as well. Alright, good deal. Always got a little bit that comes up out of the cap. Alright. Looking pretty good. A little bit more on the spine area. There we go. That's going to look pretty good at night. A lot of times when you're painting, you just kind of got to trust the process. Right now, I mean, it's close, but it's definitely not exactly what I had in mind. But, oops, sorry guys, I just knocked y'all around. My apologies. But a lot of times you just got to trust it. Now we are going to heat set that a little bit more. Now before I clear coat, I do let my lure set for at least a day. So even though I'm heat setting it and stuff like that, I like to give it time to completely dry through and through. I don't like the idea of clear coating something and still having wet paint underneath it and then it wrinkling or cracking. anything like that. It can really make a good lure go to crap really quick. All right, so now I've got to find a stencil. Obviously, I don't have a scale stencil to do kind of the scales that they got, but we are going to do something kind of my style. So let me find a stencil, and I'll be right back. All right, I found me a stencil. It's actually going to be the edges of a stencil. I'm thinking if I put that up here and spray it along. And I said it's not going to be true to life, but the colors will be there, and I think the detail will be there. Now, I do think I'm going to use some Bloodline by Tim Gore. It's the Decay. I think that color is going to be what I'm looking for. I think. All right. So let's get this going. Oh, sorry, guys. I keep bumping the camera. We're going to do something here. A little trick I do sometimes with stencils. They're called helping hands for a reason, right? Hopefully this works. Cross your fingers, y'all. Just using low pressure. I'm putting a lot of paint out. Now, helping hands allow me to be able to hold the stencil in one spot and give it a light coat. I can give it a second and come back and do it again. Alright, cross your fingers. Hope it looks good. Oh yeah. That looks real good, y'all. Now we're going to do the other side. We'll probably get some of the center textures and bring it up more into the spine. Right now I'm just trying to get the edges. But that is definitely along my style of paint. But I'm not trying to go super realistic. I like doing stuff like that. It just looks really good on the lure, I think. try and get this positioned the way I want it. It ain't got to be perfect, but it does have to be kind of a certain way. At least in my mind it does. There we go. And trying to spray straight on. Don't get angled to the stencil. Don't spray like this, because then you'll shoot up underneath the stencil like this. You always want to try and stay straight at it. Yeah, I like that. That's turning out really good. Now we can do a little freehand stencil. But I want to bring it a little bit more up the spine. Now we are going to put a little bit of this color right down the very center of the spine. All right, there's that part of it. Hopefully y'all are seeing it really good. Now we'll swap over to more of a mossy green. This is turning out really good. Better than I expected, to be honest with you. Run this paint out. That particular fish that I'm using as a reference for colors, that's a 48-inch, I believe it was, red drum. Or a bull red. Same fish, is when they get that big they call them bull reds. And man, I was catching them left and right for a while when I was down there in Louisiana. All right, now I think I might have an alcohol ink that is moss green that we're going to try out. So we need to dive into this head. Yeah, it's pretty much a moss green. So we're going to try it. I got an alcohol ink here that says it's moss green. I think it matches it really well. We'll put a little bit in and we'll spray it down here on the little mat. See how well it matches. I use a little bit of all types of paints, y'all. I use water paint or a watercolor, water-based acrylic. Let me get that right. I use water-based acrylics, solvent-based automotive paints, alcohol inks, water-based ink, and I mix and match. A lot of people say you shouldn't, do this or that. You'll have issues. I don't know if it's the way that I put everything on or what, but I haven't had any issues. I think it's all about, like, if I'm going to put water-based paints or a lot of water-based paint on top of an enamel or something like that, something solvent based, I will put a mid coat on there of like UVLS or something like that, kind of give it a barrier. But most of the time I don't have any issues. Actually, I have never really had any issues. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Got that in there, because that's not quite the color I'm looking for. It's close. It's a good starter. We're going to go ahead and put in I forget what it's called. I know where it is. Is it Vial Green? And that will help darken it down a little bit more. I figure this green is probably going to be a stepping process. Sometimes greens with me anyway, I got to step up the colors, and it seems to work out really, really good when I do that. And we're going to find a brown in that ink again, if I have a brown in that ink. We're going to put it lightly on top of all that we just did. to help bring them tones down to where I want them. And I'll show you why on the reference photo here. Some that, well, I ain't got to show you. Remember that I said there's that brown that comes through the spine, and it's also a little bit of a green? It's kind of a brown green that runs through the spine, so I want to give it kind of that cross color. Sorry, y'all, I'm just over here cleaning my airbrush a little bit. Sometimes these colors can get a little contrary spraying them out. There we go. She finally cleaned out. Alright, so let's look at my little box of alcohol inks here. See if I have a brown that suits what I'm trying to do. And if you would, let me know what y'all think about this. Does this lure look pretty good? I mean, of course you'll get a better look of it when I get done with it. I'll definitely have some good close-up shots for you. I thought there was a brown in here. No, that's not a brown. That's not a brown. There's a brown. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. I'm just going to use the alcohol ink to give it just a little bit of a hue over it. I think it just needs it. All right. There we go. I said not a lot, just a little. It helps tone down some of the green and make the green melt back into them brown tones. Now, if y'all ever do get alcohol inks and want to try them, make sure you have good ventilation and use alcohol to clean your airbrush. They are an alcohol ink, so alcohol reduces, or not reduces, but cleans up any mess. Now, keep in mind, if you're going to use them, don't wear good clothes. They are ink, so if they get on your clothes, you're not getting it back out. kind of one of them things, once it's there for a while. So make sure that's where you want it. All right, now, like I said, I'm going to show you all this reference photo one more time here. See, here's what we got right now. I think we're pretty close. We still got that pearl shine in the belly that will come up with the clear coat. Now we're going to take this other pearl I have, we're going to mix it, and we're going to spray it along the top, trying to keep it off the belly. So, excuse me, I apologize. So I'm going to get this mixed up, and we'll be right back. All right, folks, we got the pearl mixed up, or iridescent iris, as it says on the jar. You know, like I said, we're just going to do this on the top portion along here and gently come down the sides, hopefully. Now, I don't know if it will stay or not. And I'm going to try to put some pearl on the tail. So this is strictly an experiment. Sometimes these little rubber tails, they don't take paint at all. We're going to add just a little touch of sapphire candy to get just a little bit of blue. Put a little bit of black. Hold on, y'all. Now that looks like a redfish tail to me. Clean my airbrush here. This is going to take a minute. It's black, so I got to get it cleaned out really good. All right, we're back. Well, that tail definitely looks really good to me. And I think it's going to be look really good on the lure once everything's dry and set up. I said, if y'all have any questions about what I use, where I get stuff, by all means ask. I'm an open book. I don't hide anything. That's kind of why I started these videos. For those that know me, I did start out doing this for myself, and then I got on TikTok and people started wanting to see my stuff, and it just kind of went from there. A lot of people on TikTok, and other apps, not even just gonna pick on that one, but they kind of gatekeep, and I don't like that. I mean, I know certain things, you know, we all kind of keep to ourselves because that's our style, or something that we figured out, and just it gives us that one little thing. But there's people that won't even tell you where they get their paints from, and I'm not that person. So that's why I started doing these videos, to show people how I do what I do. Yeah, so let me get y'all up here as best as I can. So hang on, we're gonna go for a ride. Wee-hoo! Gonna take a trip on our favorite rocket ship. I want to get y'all a good view of this. And we still, I know you probably can't see it in the camera, we still got the pearl on the pearl white and blue on the belly. Maybe if I zoom in, you'll see it. Yeah, there we go. You see that pearl on the belly still. And that pearl I put on the top. And then the tail, which is kind of a pain to put on. If I can get it on without messing it up. There we go. I know the tail kind of stands out. It's not as standoffish in person as what it might look in the camera. But yeah, so there's our redfish swim bait. So hopefully y'all liked it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the process. Enjoyed the reference photo. I know I didn't talk a whole lot in this one. I just kind of showed y'all what I was doing. But by all means, if y'all want to see more of this, please like and subscribe. comment. Give me some comments. Let me know what you think, what you want to see, stuff like that. And later on, I'll put a short up with this one with clear coat and everything once it gets clear coat. But I definitely, I keep saying this, but I do. I enjoy doing this for y'all. I enjoy seeing the interaction. So I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna go get me a bite to eat because it is getting late into the evening, and I still got to eat after work. So love y'all. Hope y'all have a good one, and we will talk to y'all later.